The charming Sophie, the stiff upper-lip Dowager, and joyful Vlad, and the scary Rasputin are the support characters of the famous Anastasia Disney movie, which turns a quarter of a century this year in 2022. Yet how accurate is their portrayal, and did they all exist in real life? In the first two episodes, we uncovered the true stories of the Grand Duchess Anastasia, Dimitri, and Anya. Watch this video to learn how the film actually reverted the identities of its support characters.
I have something else in mind, something more enticing, something really cruel.
Let's begin with the Dowager Empress Maria Fyodorovna, who was the mother of Russia's last Tsar and the beloved grandmother of Anastasia. According to the movie, she is one of the few Romanovs who managed to escape death in revolutionary Russia, which is a rather accurate notion of the reality of those events. However, the famous song "Once Upon a December" which I can't reproduce due to copyright restrictions, and the inscription on the secret key that opened that musical box directed all the traces to Paris, which was actually not entirely correct in the terms of the reality of the post-Empire aftermath.
It was our secret, my Anastasia's and mine.
The maiden name of Anastasia's grandmother was Princess Dagmar of Denmark. She was born in 1847 in Copenhagen, exactly 70 years before the unfolding events in the movie. At the age of 19, she became the wife of the heir to the Russian throne, future Emperor Alexander III. Her contemporaries recalled that the moment she set foot on Russian soil, she succeeded in winning to herself all hearts. Indeed, she became one of the most loved members of the imperial family ever, and thanks to her genuine efforts, grace and kindness, she could definitely treat herself with the title of the Queen of People's Hearts.
Together in Paris. Really? Oh, Grandmama!
The whole movie is infused with the dreamy image of a distant French capital, although the Dowager didn't spend her years in exile there. Devastated by the saddest news of what has happened to her country and her beloved son and his family, she returned to her native Denmark and spent the last years there, refusing to believe in their brutal murder. Wait, what murder? If that's the question that pops into your mind now, then watch my first video about Anastasia, where I tell about the events of those terrifying times.
One ticket to Paris, please.
Exit visa.
Exit visa?
No exit visa? No ticket!
Anyways, looks like Paris was added to the movie to make the plot more enticing and relatable to the larger public. However, the Dowager did indeed hope that at least one of her grandchildren survived, and at the same time she was perfectly aware that the numerous imposters were trying their luck in meeting her and putting hands on the rumored Romanov's fortune. All that is shown in the movie and was rather close to reality.
Look, there she is.
Please let her remember me.
Now to the most intriguing part. Did Anya or Anna Anderson, as we learned in the second video of this mini-series, you know what to do if you missed it, did she had a chance to meet the Dowager? Well, since Anna Anderson was the most advanced and famous candidate for the role of Anastasia, she eventually attracted a lot of attention to her persona. Quite a few Russian aristocrats in exile and even several members of the former imperial court and the largest circle of the royal family visited Anna in private to have that chance to see her and talk to her. It is known that some relatives of the immediate circle of the Dowager paid her a visit too.
So, is she a Romanov?
Oh, well, she answered every question.
Alas, all the trustworthy records, memoirs, and even further detailed investigation suggested that the lady had nothing to do with the Grand Duchess. The Dowager Empress was aware of those meetings and eventually passed on Anna Anderson herself. And now to the crowd's favorite movie character, Sophie.
Who is Sophie? She's a tender little morsel. Vlad. A cup of hot chocolate after a long walk in the snow.
Vlad, ixnay on the officer.
She's a decadent pastry filled with whipped cream and laughter.
Is this a person or a cream puff?
Amazingly, I think she really had a prototype from real life. You see, one of those agent insiders who visited Anna at the epoch was Baroness Sophie Buxhovden, or Isa, like everyone called her. She was really close to the imperial family and served as a lady-in-waiting to the Empress, Anastasia's mother. The real Sophie was a part of the immediate circle of the family and spent a lot of time with Romanovs. She was also one of those truly lucky souls who managed to escape the later bloody revolution and emigrate to Europe. It is known that she indeed remained close to Dowager and was visiting Anna to then report her findings and thoughts to the grieving Serene Highness.
So, when do we go and see the Empress?
I'm afraid you don't.
Come again, my pet.
The Empress simply won't allow it.
Now, Sophie, my bright diamond, surely you can think of some way to arrange a brief interview with the Dowager?
And unlike in the movie, where the blonde Sophie becomes one of the most avid supporters of Anya, the real Baroness denounced Anderson as a fraud, pretending to be the Grand Duchess Anastasia, just like she did with all the claimants for the role. Actually, I was really captivated by Isa's life trajectory. She wrote several memoir books of her life with imperial family. Luckily, many of those records are publicly available on alexanderpalace.org website. And if you are interested in the topic, I highly recommend you dive into those memoirs, a real treasure trove. I'll leave the link in the description.
Sophie! Stanislavskayevna, Somokov, Smirnov!
Vladimir Vanyavanitsky Vasilovich!
Like, really? Did you get their names here? Frankly speaking, it makes no sense at all and doesn't sound like proper Russian surnames. I replayed this episode in the Russian version, and there it suddenly works.
Sophie! Софья Станиславовна Сумарокова-Смирнова. Владимир Николаевич Войницкий.
While Sophie's surname is clearly just an invention, though comprised of real Russian surnames, I thought that the name of Vladimir Nikolaevich Voynitsky might give us a hint to the real-life prototype. In the English version of the movie, he says that he was a member of the court, while in the Russian one, he specifies he was the Marshal of Nobility, the special title that existed in Russia at the epoch. I looked through all the available records online to find just a hint to the guy there, but unfortunately there was nothing. At the same time, it is believed the character of Vlad in Anastasia was based on Count Vladimir Frederiks, who was the imperial household minister for Tsar Nicholas II. I guess the hint for this is given in the character's paternal name of Nikolaevich. He was one of the few people really close to Emperor himself. The French ambassador even called him the very personification of court life. By the time of the revolution, he was already in the ill state of mind. Perhaps that's what helped him escape the execution. He was allowed to keep living in now Petrograd and then moved to Finland. People said that years after, he was wearing his court uniform in protest to the new authorities.
And I have known my share of royalty. You see, my dear, I was a member of the imperial court.
There was another Vladimir Nikolaevich, who was one of the most trusted associates of Emperor. Interestingly, he even has a similarly sounding surname, Voyeikov. Here they are on the photo together with Frederiks, whose daughter became Voyeikov's wife. He also wrote memoirs with or without Tsar and might have been another source of inspiration for the character of Vlad. The scriptwriters eventually changed the surname of the real prototype and were perhaps inspired by Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, the most famous source where the surname Voynitsky may come from. And now, finally, here comes the villain, Rasputin. In real life, a peasant Grigory Yefimovich was a very controversial figure who indeed was the Romanovs' advisor and Tsarina Alexandra's most trusted confidant.
We thought he was a holy man, but he was a fraud, power mad and dangerous.
How dare you return to the palace?
But I am your confidant.
Confident? Ha! You are a traitor! Get out!
Rumor has it that Rasputin told the Tsarina he was about to be assassinated and that if one of her relatives killed him, all the Romanov family would die within a year. While of course these facts were too dark to be included in the movie, there is still a reference there. During the song A Rumor in St. Petersburg, an old woman tells Dimitri to buy Count Yousoupoff's pajamas while offering a pair of ragged clothes. Yousoupoff, who actually was a prince, really existed and was the one who killed the real Rasputin along with a group of noblemen. Although he married Irina Romanova, Tsar Nicholas's niece, he wasn't a prince of royal blood himself, so technically not a family relative in the rumored curse of Rasputin. Again, Count Yousoupoff had an extremely fascinating life. Did you know, for example, that all persons fictitious disclaimer in the titles of every movie has actually appeared thanks to him? I'll definitely make one of the future videos about this amazing story, so make sure you are subscribed to this channel.
Keep up with me, darling.
When Anastasia and her grandmother are running away from the palace, they're chased by Rasputin, who then falls through the ice, allowing them to escape. In real life, Rasputin was murdered ahead of the revolutionary events, and his body was dumped into a hole in the ice of one of the river channels in St. Petersburg. This is a truly gloomy part of the story, so that's why screenwriters decided to add this cute little Bartok, who innocently makes some laugh at his village master and consoles children's hearts with the brutal reality.
Time to go.
But you're dead! You're falling apart, sir! How do you expect to get to Paris in one piece?
I thought we'd take the train.
Well, that was pretty it with my short 3-series recap of the iconic Anastasia movie that celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. And now we're turning to a different history-infused series that grabbed everyone's attention recently. Stay tuned and subscribed. Bye-bye.
Wow! I tell you what, wow! So long, everybody.